Welcome back to Home and Away, where we're previewing the Spring Home Builders Tour in both Topeka and Lawrence. We're in Lawrence now, and joining us is Kelly Drake, the president of Mallard Homes. Kelly, tell us how long you've been in the building business here in Lawrence.
Our construction company started in 1999, so about 10 years.
And I understand that the theme of this year's Lawrence Home Builders Tour is everything's coming up green, and there's a very significant reason behind that. There are some new energy codes that went into effect early last year.
Right.
Explain in the simplest terms possible what that means to both home builders and home buyers.
Well, several years before those went into effect, so back in 1995, 1996, the Lawrence Home Builders Association and the City of Lawrence undertook adopting a new set of building codes for the City of Lawrence. We were under the uniform building codes, and the city decided to adopt the international building codes, which are more throughout the United States and actually throughout the world. And one component of those new codes was the energy efficiency code.
Well, let's talk specifically about some of those. I know the home we're sitting in today not only meets many of those code requirements, but actually exceeds them. And we had the benefit of seeing this home at various stages of construction. So, because some of these things aren't visible to the naked eye, you have to know them. I'm speaking primarily right now of the insulated slab and footing in this house.
This is a slab on grade house, so there's no basement, but that concrete, even on a basement house, is exposed. One of the new requirements is, especially for basement houses, that it's insulated. It's one of the things we opted out when we adopted the new code in Lawrence, but I went ahead and insulated the slab edge and actually insulated down below the footing. So instead of losing all the heat out the side of the house, out the concrete, out the floor during the wintertime, that is actually going to be held in now. So it makes a slab on grade house much more comfortable throughout the year and much more energy efficient. Actually, the inventor of this actual product, Energy Edge out of Wichita, he came down and talked to us, and we found out that he's a KU grad from the architecture school. He drove up from Wichita, spent a day with us, spent a day with our concrete crews showing us how to set it up. We invited the code officials out from the city. They took a look at it, asked questions of him, and he explained the process. So as this becomes more and more common, they've essentially been trained by the inventor of this product how to look for what is properly how it's properly installed.
A good advantage.
Yeah.
Moving to the walls, there's a foam insulation in the wall component that
Right.
assists in the energy efficiency.
Yeah, that slab, the footing insulation is foam, the slab insulation is foam, so we carry that on up through the walls. You just spray it once and it fills up the whole cavity. In this case, instead of 2x4 walls, we use 2x6 walls, so we've got a lot more insulation, a lot more R value. But in addition to the R value, the good thing about the foam is it also stops the air infiltration. Imagine a foam pop cooler, and we've turned it upside down. And so you're living up inside of that, and you're not getting air in and out. And so one of the things that we have to do is we have to put in a forced mechanical system that's in addition to the heating and air conditioning system that forces air in and out of the house.
Kelly, windows are a notorious culprit of energy loss in homes. How have you addressed that in this house?
What we've done in this house is we have low E windows, and actually our low E windows go a step beyond what is going in most houses because ours are argon gas filled also. So in addition to having the tinting that helps, the low E tinting that helps keep the sunlight out and the radiant heat out in the summertime, and the warm temperature help keep it in the wintertime. What that argon gas does is it helps, especially in the summertime when you're trying to cool, because that's when you have the biggest drag in your windows, is in the summertime when you're trying to cool.
Let's talk about lighting and the difference between fluorescent and incandescent lighting.
You know, it took me a while to switch over to it, and another builder here in town, Neil Ezel, is really the one that's kind of been pushing all of the builders to think hard and long and hard about it. So, you know, Neil's the one who's really been pushing that. But one of the things that we found once we started using it is people noticed very little, if any, difference. It used to be that fluorescent lights were a different color, had a different feel in your house. It felt like you were, filling gas at the convenience store, or that you were living under car lights.
Sure.
And now the lighting, the color of the lighting is much more natural as to what we expect from our incandescent lighting, the old style lighting that we use. They use about 75% less energy to get the same light. So, you know, we can replace what would have been a 65-watt bulb with about a 17-watt bulb.
That's pretty substantial.
That's a huge difference, and there's a lot less heat output from a fluorescent light. So in the summertime, essentially, as we're trying to light our houses inside, we're fighting against that. Our air conditioner's fighting against that and having to cool off that heat that's coming from all the lighting.
So let's talk about some of the other energy efficient components that maybe aren't visible but are equally as important, and I'm speaking of mechanical air conditioning and heating in particular.
The heat pump is a high efficiency heat pump, and so we stay on electric and we're efficient up to a certain point, and then when we get down with the temperature, what ends up happening is that gas furnace, the high efficiency gas furnace, kicks in.
Well, likewise, there are some savings to be had by the incorporation of a tankless hot water heater.
What we have is a tankless hot water system where the water goes into there, it's heated, and it basically goes right out to wherever you're using it, whether it's a dishwasher, washing machine, or the shower.
Let's talk about the radiant barrier roofing that's part of this home. Really some significant savings there.
Essentially, it's the same roofing or the same decking that we use on any other house, but it has a foil backing to it. And that foil backing, in the summertime especially, will radiate out, back out about 97% of the sun's radiant heat that's hitting it. So in the summertime, you know, that heat's coming in, and instead of going into the attic, you know, a normal attic in new construction in the summertime, we would normally be seeing 140, maybe even 150 degrees in June or July or August. We would see those temperatures way up there. Here we're probably going to see, well, we are going to see temperatures that are 20 or 30 degrees less than that. And you can imagine even taking that 20 or 30 degrees off of your attic, how much easier it's going to be on your air conditioner to cool it.
Certainly. Now, Kelly, what does that mean to homeowners in terms of, a lot of people are concerned about the initial outlay on the cost of a tankless hot water heater or radiant barrier roofing. What do you have to do to see a significant return on that kind of investment in terms of the savings you're describing?
With some of the tax credits that have come up and some of the tax credits that we'll be able to get for this house, it makes it relatively cost effective, but you're still going to have to stay in this house or a house like this for, you know, 5 to 7, maybe even a few more years than that. So if this is a house that, you know, for example, this house is being built for my parents. This is a house that will probably be their last house. And so we're building it as energy efficient as possible because we think that they're going to stay here long enough to get that return.
Likewise, in terms of resale value, it could only be an asset.
Absolutely. And as you put these things to your houses, you know, you do replacement windows, you put in a tankless hot water heater, you put in higher efficiency furnaces and air conditioners. Right now there's some tax credits out there that are giving people, if you get the qualifying products, the right products, you can get up to, I believe it's 30% up to $1,500, and that's an instant tax credit to you. So, you know, if you do window replacement that's a $10,000 replacement, you're going to get $1,500 back on your taxes.
Something definitely to consider.
Yeah.
Likewise, if you're building a home and you don't need to utilize a basement space, an alternative to that would be what you've incorporated in this home in the way of a safe room.
Right. We found that a lot of people, you know, they are at a certain point in their life that they don't necessarily need or want a basement. We can put in a concrete storm shelter. This has about an 8-by-6 room that is going to serve as a pantry. It's off of the laundry room. So it looks just like a regular room. It's been drywalled, but it has 8-inch concrete walls. It's tied in to footings that are down below it. So it's not going anywhere, and then it has a 6-inch concrete cap on it, and it'll have a big steel door. So, you know, if that time ever comes that they need to go in there, they're going to feel secure. And I tell people, heck, I would almost feel more secure in that than my basement that I have at my house.
Good endorsement. Well, new codes and new technologies require new understandings. Kelly Drake, thanks very much for helping us better understand those today.
You're welcome.
Remember, you can see both of the homes featured on today's show and many more in the upcoming Lawrence and Topeka Home Builders Association Spring Tour. The dates and times of the shows are on your screen. Be sure to stop by. Thanks for joining me, and stay tuned for our Sunrise Garden Center Tip of the Week coming up next. I'm Lori Carson. We'll see you next time on Home and Away.